don't come under the pain and the emotional distress that it is to be abandoned. But I will make sure that I track your coffee drinking. I will watch over your shoulder as you brew your coffee. I will help you clean up your coffee. I will buy your beans for you. So know that you are not abandoned. You're not alone.
But you're not making me coffee anymore?
I haven't not made you coffee. Yesterday was achieving harmony. We missed yesterday.
Nor did we have harmony.
No, there wasn't a harmony. Like, it starts off about a piano player playing a piece of music for the first time.
I'm not reading that one.
I know.
Stop it.
So,
if you wanted harmony, you should have read that yesterday before you shooed me out the door. I sat here ready to go, and you were like, we have to go.
Huh. That's how I sound.
No.
How about you read to this yesterday?
Do you want to know how you sound?
Buddy,
I'm leaving now. If you want to come with me.
Oh no, it's June the 28th.
Get out the door.
I actually.
That's how you sound.
Wow, that must be hard. You must feel lucky to be abandoned. You must enjoy abandonment then, because that's really harsh to be under.
That's what you said yesterday. I don't want you to come with me because I want to leave when I want to leave. That's what you said yesterday.
That sounds like something I would say.
You said it. Can you see my tear?
Man, abandonment would look really good on you. You should live in a cave. Bring your pug. But he's doing better. Vicky made him rice and ground beef with carrot in it.
Instant pot.
In the Instant Pot success story right here. And
not really. I burnt the bottom.
He's been gobbling it up. Gobbling. Yeah.
He loves it.
So I think he's doing okay. He's not better, for sure. He's got another week of antibiotics.
Yeah, one more week of antibiotics.
And we will get some testing done. And
do you think, I don't actually know but I think that they can't do more testing until the infection's gone? Is that what you understood?
He's got a chappy nose. What do you put on that? Vaseline?
Coconut oil, but he'll just lick it right off.
Just lick it right off.
His nose goes all the way up to
his nose.
I mean, his tongue goes all the way up to here. He's just going to
I
clean
think
it all right off.
His tongue goes back to here. All right, let's get some spiritualness. Whew, miss one day and
don't work.
When things don't work.
Frequently, when faced with a problem, we may attempt to solve it in a particular way. When that way doesn't work, we may continue trying to solve the problem in that same way. We may get frustrated, try harder, get more frustrated, and then exert more energy and influence into forcing the same solution that we've already tried and that didn't work. This approach makes us crazy. It tends to get us stuck and trapped. It is the stuff that unmanageability is made of. We can get caught in the same difficult pattern in relationships, in tasks, in any area of our life. We initiate something, it doesn't work, doesn't flow, we feel badly, then try the same approach harder even though it's not working and flowing. Sometimes it's appropriate not to give up and to try harder. Sometimes it's more appropriate to let go, detach, and stop trying so hard. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't flow, maybe life or God is trying to tell us something. Life or God is a gentle teacher. She doesn't always send neon road signs to guide us. Sometimes the signs are more subtle. Sometimes not working may be a sign. Let go. If we have become frustrated by repeated efforts that aren't producing desired results, we may be trying to force ourselves down the wrong path. Sometimes a different solution is appropriate. Sometimes a different path opens up. Sometimes the answer will emerge more clearly in the quietness of letting go than it will in the urgency, frustration, and desperation of pushing harder. Learn to recognize when something isn't working or isn't flowing. Step back and wait for clear guidance. Today, I will not make myself crazy by repeatedly trying solutions that have proven themselves unsuccessful. If something isn't working, I will step back and wait for guidance.
Wow. Good word. What I'm hearing is, like, the picture that I got was, those little cars that go and then hit a wall and then turn, and then hit that wall and then turn.
Like the Roomba
I feel
vacuum.
like life can be like that. But what I don't want to hear, or I don't want people to hear, and what I've heard is that the process of recovery doesn't work and I have to do it differently, and people can get stuck in trying to do recover, like trying to get recovered in all these different ways and go to this rehab center, go to that rehab center. And the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous has a plan of action that if you are rigorously honest, you will recover it. And so I've seen people that quit in the inventories, the sex inventory. I see people that quit in the making amends. They don't give, they don't make all their amends. And so then they blame it on the steps and they blame it on a sponsor and they blame it. But I think in that regard, I would keep doing that over and over again. But I see, like in life, in this life that God has for us, I don't think there's like, the angel doesn't give us like at our bedside, okay guys, this is the game plan for today, ready, set, break. I think in some regards, money can be a promoter of keep going or stop. I think there's signs of like, if this isn't working and you're not getting the desired result, then maybe change. Or I think COVID has really showed us some things that we don't need to be doing. They're not effective and we can change. And it's not about us, it's about serving others and glorifying God. So I think when there's challenges, it can actually show you and benefit that you either do keep going and pushing through, or you keep going and but go this way, or you go, let's stop.
I tried hard to listen and
While you were
pay
reading?
attention to what you were saying and not lose my thought.
Okay,
That's
good.
hard
What's your thought?
sometimes.
I know.
That's really, really hard because sometimes, like, I'm trying to learn the difference between
You should write it down right. You're going to forget
listening to answer, right? Like, lots of us just listen, but we're really just waiting to answer, and we're not really paying attention to what the person is saying. But I wanted to hear what you were saying.
I hope you didn't
because
forget.
I think it's important, but also
Don't
I have my
forget.
own thought.
What's your own
So my
thought?
own thought was that
By the way, I do that all day long. I think of something and then I forget about it, and I forget about it, and I forget about
and then
it.
you tell me half of it.
Yeah, and then in a car
And
ride,
you get distracted halfway
and in a
through
car
what you're-
ride, I remember
you
them
tell me
all.
something else. Okay, so or you'll talk about something so intently, but you haven't actually told me like the actual subject
I like
matter
the word
of what you're
intently
talking
now.
about.
I like the word intently. Yes.
So you're like
With
giving all this
exclamation
detail, and
marks.
you're so like detailed and intense.
I had a guy
about
in
it.
the treatment center.
But I don't know what you're talking about. You could be talking about kombucha. You could be talking about ashes to rubies. You could be talking about church. You could be talking about kids.
I hope you haven't forgotten.
I
what
haven't
you-
forgotten.
okay.
So I
I had somebody in the treatment center once. They just said they've never heard anybody speak in exclamation marks all the time.
yeah. You
I was
do.
like, oh,
And
is that
volume
me?
level.
Oh.
Off or on? High or off? Okay.
Okay, don't forget.
I am in a place right now where it feels like there's a lot of moving parts. It feels like there's a lot of like decisions that need to be made or things that need to happen, but I don't feel like it's around me, but none of it is mine. And so I feel like I am. So what did it say?
Like, do you mean like cutting the grass and washing the
No.
car and making dinner?
No. No, it's mostly like, so I live with you and you have a lot of stuff that you are leading or building or involved in, and I'm involved to some level, but I've kept my involvement to like a minimum right now because I'm on sabbatical. And so that's not the technical term for when you are unemployed. That's actually the technical term for taking time off when you have a job to go back to. So that's not a full truth, but I like to call it a sabbatical. So it can be challenging for me because I'm a fixer, I'm a problem solver, and I tend to go into
Don't forget chaos creator.
controlling mode. I don't feel that was appropriate, actually.
I'm
comment.
sorry, that's not appropriate.
I tend to go into controlling mode, or it can be like really avoidant and in denial. But just for the purposes of this conversation, I know that my tendency would be to like worry and obsess and try to figure out and be really anxious. And I'm really trying not to do those things and just to be able to like detach and stop trying so hard. And so I feel that, and because the frustration for me is that I'm actually not in charge. And so I'm actually not in charge and I don't need to make the decisions, but I can often give you my opinion and like pretty opinionated often and feel like I'm pretty smart and can like figure things out, but it doesn't feel like I really want to be doing that. And so I'm trying to let go of, what did it say here? I feel like it's up to you to be in the quietness, and the answer will emerge more clearly in the quietness of letting go than it will in the urgency, frustration, and desperation of pushing harder. And that part of like me, my job is to create more of that quietness and be letting go. And so, but it's really challenging. And I don't think I'm doing super great at it all the time. Like I think that's part of why I woke up with a headache. It's just I have a lot of tension, and there just feels like there's lots of decisions that need to be made, and so it can be weighty, but none of it is mine. And so I think that's a really good distinction of like, actually what doesn't work is for me to drive from the back seat. Like I know that doesn't work, and that's a lesson I've been learning for years of like, I'm such a backseat driver, and I take on so much, like even when I'm not asked to. And so when I can, like, I want to get out of crazy, like I don't actually want to be trapped in crazy. And so, but then recognizing, so just recognizing where it's appropriate to be involved and where it's not. And so I feel like it's a challenge. And I think that does involve my recovery, because I'm so ingrained to do more than what I'm asked to do, get involved even where I'm not asked to be involved, and try to fix and control. And I mean, it's super helpful. Lots of times it's really appreciated. But on the other hand, it does create, some tension and some conflict. And I think that's one thing that I had to
So basically you're saying good luck to all the church planting couples out there. And
it's I mean, I know that I am grateful, because you want to involve me, and you want to talk to me about everything, and you want, like, you are a verbal processor, and so you talk to me about everything. But I have to recognize that oftentimes you're talking for your own verbal processing process, not necessarily because you're looking to, like, you're not against me giving my opinion, but like I think the level of involvement that I felt that gave me is different than, like I thought. I think I thought that because you verbal process so much. Wow, why are we talking about this on camera? This is a conversation that I didn't expect. Like I didn't expect all of this, and so we can talk about it off camera. But I want to respect your verbal processing, but I think it's been hard for me, and it's also like it's made me feel like I have more responsibility than I really did.
Yeah, I can see how that happens. Because I think, we wear things, and we have assumptions, and we make...
And if I'm a worrier and an obsessor and a fixer...
it just gives you stuff to worry about.
And you're verbal processing everything with me.
So, but then, how do you... And that's your perception, I verbally process everything. But then, how do you... And then how do you have verbal conversations in discussing things without reacting as the caretaker of those things and letting them bother you? And so I think that's the process of being able to listen, not reacting to the outside cue no matter what they are, and then just setting up the boundaries on how to function properly. Or not properly, but beneficial.
I actually think it's a conversation that's happening on social media right now.
Oh my goodness.
Where I'm learning to listen, to give space to others, not listen to fix. Right? Like, and this is, I think, the conversation that's happening on social media, where lots of people are like, we need to talk about this. And other people are like, but what do you want me to do? Like, what am I doing wrong? And they take it,
or
and
they don't want you to talk about it. And if you do, then
you're just causing trouble.
How do we have a healthy conversation? How do we unpack things in a healthy way that doesn't promote conflict, doesn't arise obsessive thinking and controlling and fixing and all those things. Yeah, I think detaching is a thing. I think
Listening.
responsibility, taking responsibility of what's yours and mine and his and hers, and listening. Yeah,
Listening and
listening to hear.
creating space, like listening as a not to respond, not to answer, not to fix, not to control, not because I'm the solution, but I'm listening to create space for you to talk. And that's what I like, and just holding that space is a term that I've heard, the last couple of years, I think, is just like holding space for people. And I don't think that's something that I really truly understood until I started my own recovery journey, like in January, of like, what's happening inside of me? Why am I so anxious? Why am I so frustrated? Why am I so irritated?
I wouldn't say it's starting your recovery journey. I think it's realigning your recovery journey, because
I've been doing
you've been on a journey for many years.
10 years probably, but yeah. And so it's just, I think, a different thinking of,
It's an awakening. You're having an awakening.
Yeah, and I used to try to like shut you down, but it's not actually about you. It's actually about me and like what happens inside of me, and why can't I just be present and ask good questions so that you can keep, because I know how valuable speaking out loud is. It's so valuable. But
sometimes it's not valuable.
No, but there's something.
I think there's a higher value on listening.
No.
Seeking
No. For a person who's trying to process things, or for a person who's trying to heal or grow or build or plan, it's very, very different speaking out loud as opposed to just having things going around and around in your head. So that's part of like the safety of a small group, right? When we go to a 12-step group, when we go to a grief share group, when we go to divorce care,
a rehab center,
12-step
the LifeLab group,
my Codependence Anonymous,
meeting with people one-on-one.
Yeah, any
you get a process life and recovery and what's
and we're when I first went to a group like that, like whatever it was 10 years ago, and I was like, "Ooh, you want me to like share something out loud?" But they had guidelines. We're going to use I statements. We're going to not interrupt people. We're not going to respond to what people are saying. All those kind of guidelines. It felt so safe for me, because I'd had all this stuff going on in my life for all these years that felt like that I didn't feel safe that I could talk about with people. And then when I did talk about it with people, their reactions were like, "Oh my goodness," like, but I could go to this circle of people that I would talk out loud and I would realize things. And lots of people thought, "Well, what's the point? No one's saying anything, and we're not actually helping anybody." No,
you're leading them into the relationship with the one with the answers, and that's God.
Exactly.
And it works so much better when you're getting your advice from God and you're being led to God and not everybody else. And no one's a therapist, and everybody wants to be a therapist, banker, and advice giver. And it's like, let's lead people into the person that can answer the questions. And I think that works way better. I think community is great, and we talk things through in productive manners. I don't think that's wrong. And we're out of time. See you at 4 p.m. today, Union City Church. We're in Colossians. And that's it.